Viewers, good morning. You're watching Times Now. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is all set to attend the Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting today. A summit that also comes amid the ongoing tariff war with the US. Prime Minister Modi is likely to make the opening remarks at the SCO session. We are waiting for live feed to come in. Swati Joshi joining us live from Tianjin in China. Our guests are with us, Mr. Ma, Ashok Sajjanhar, Colonel RSN, Sean Rain, and Srinjoy Chaudhary here with me in the studio. Swati, to you first. It's all building up. First to what the Prime Minister says at the plenary meeting, his opening remarks, and then the all-important bilateral with Putin.
Absolutely. It is going to be extremely important to see what the Prime Minister has to say in the plenary session. Well, yesterday with the Chinese President Xi Jinping, the Prime Minister raised the issue of cross-border terrorism and sought cooperation from the Chinese side to counter this challenge. And we were told that the Chinese President extended that support to Prime Minister Narendra Modi, that there will be a joint fight against terrorism. Now, in the plenary session, the objective that India has is to ensure that there is a joint statement, a strong statement, a message from the SCO, which was founded to counter terrorism, extremism and separatism, that there is a joint statement from all the members of the state, because this is the largest regional organization that covers half of the world's population, Pranesh, and 25% of the global GDP. So to have a commitment from such a large organization, from 10 member states, it's had 2 observers and 14 dialogue partners. To issue a statement on terrorism would be a big thing. We'll have to keep tracking that. The other big thing that we'll have to watch out for during the bilateral is conversation on tariff, because the elephant in the room is tariff. The elephant in the room actually is Donald Trump, who wants India to, under pressure, of course, cut off ties or disturb its stability with Russia. Russia relationship with India dates back or roots back to the Soviet Union, the Soviet era, and even after the dissolution of the Soviet era, Russia ensured healthy ties, strong ties with India. It has backed a permanent seat for India at the UNSC. It has come out in support of India in every difficult hour. And apart from that, we have cooperation in most of the sectors. It is the largest supplier of defense equipments to India. How can one expect India to, betray or sidestep such a valuable partner? If Donald Trump really wanted peace between Russia and Ukraine, he could have perhaps tried the dosti route or try and leverage the friendship between India and Russia. Instead, he chose to pressurize India by slapping those tariffs in India. And India has been defined, whether it was the Operation Sindoor claim that Donald Trump kept saying he's the one who brokered peace between India and Pakistan. India was defined and mentioned in the parliament. The Prime Minister said that no country has arm twisted us, that no world power has asked us to agree to such a ceasefire arrangement with Pakistan. There was no interference at all. So, Donald Trump has had that response from Prime Minister Narendra Modi to all the claims that he's been making. India has also ensure that it is not going to bow down to the tariff pressure. Initially, when the 25% tariff update came, India was ready with the negotiating team that we will talk it out, because every other country was facing a similar tariff. But when the additional 25% came in, it was absolutely clear it was not tariff, it was a sanction for doing trade with Russia. So,
in fact, the word slipped out at one of the press briefings by the White House chief spokesperson. Sanction is the word she said. Maybe she didn't want to use it, but it came out. And Swati, this is just a ploy by the Americans to make India as pliable as the other countries. So they keep trying this strong arm tactics like Sean just mentioned. But Mr. Sajjanar, the Prime Minister had a 55-minute meeting with Xi Jinping. It's interesting to note the MEA statement after that, in which the emphasis was on civilized trade.
No, absolutely. I think this is because both the countries do realize, since tariff seems to be the flavor of the day, not a very pleasant flavor, I must say, that but this seems to be the hot topic of conversation, that the two economies, China and India, China, the second largest economy in the world, India, the fourth largest economy, getting on to be the third largest economy in a few years, fastest growing major economy, with a GDP growth of 7.8% in the first quarter of this financial year, that these two economies can work together to stabilize the global economy, which has really been put in turmoil by all these tariffs. So I think this is these two countries putting their best foot forward. But that having been said, in the context of all the discussions that we are having, there is, it needs to be recognized. We need to be pragmatic. We need to be realist that, there is a huge distrust between India and China, and it is there are huge number of issues. It is not only Mr. Trump. I think we'll be making a very serious mistake by thinking that it is Mr. Trump who has to determine what the state of relations between India and China is going to be. In the MEA statement that came out, it was very categorically mentioned that the relations between the two countries are not dependent on any third country. They should not be viewed through the lens of any third country. So that, we need to keep this away. And in fact, the warming up of ties between the two countries, between India and China, started in October last year after a hiatus of 5 years. That is before Mr. Trump's election. Election took place in November. So this has been a regular progression of the ties. There are problems of cross-border terrorism coming from Pakistan. There is a problem of Chinese support to Pakistan against India. Even in the most recent Op Sindoor, the protection that China provides to terrorists in Pakistan. We have had problems at the UN Security Council. Of course, we've been speaking about trade. There is also the huge problem of the 3,488 kilometer of border between India and China, which is undemarcated. So there are huge problems. There are problem of water sharing, of sharing the hydrological data with India. Every step China tries to obstruct the path of India towards playing its due role in global affairs in terms of its membership of the UN Security Council, membership of the Nuclear Suppliers Group, etc. So there are huge number of issues between the two countries. We cannot sidestep them. But this is a cautious start. This is a good start. And I think it needs to be welcomed.
Sanjoy, while we wait for the opening remarks of Prime Minister Modi at the SCO Summit, let's, break down the mindset of, Peter Navarro and the likes of him. Because it seems that Donald Trump has one, as a group of people, and Mr. Sean called him a delusional bigot, and I agreed completely. I don't know whether he went to Harvard or not. Some reports suggest he went to Harvard, has a PhD in economics, etc., etc. But the kind of commentary that he's been, throwing at India, it seems he got his degree from Mar-a-Lago.
Well, first of all, some years from now, Peter Navarro will be a little footnote in the history of Indo-US relations. He will be absolutely forgotten, because even Donald Trump may not have such an impact on bilateral relations if you look at it in the long term. Does anyone remember Richard Nixon today, apart from Watergate? The fact that he sent an aircraft carrier towards India in 1971. Yeah, Peter Navarro has said a few things, very, very distasteful, it must be said. And this Brahmin remark, it is a clear understanding of, lacks clear understanding of India. And when he says Brahmin, the people here he's going to upset are some of Trump's own friends, because Trump's friends are in Boston, and they call themselves the Boston Brahmins. And one of his close friends was a man called William Buckley. So all these people are going to be annoyed, but that's a small aside. The fact that this Brahmin remark has been made clearly suggests a lack of ignorance about India and the Indian caste system. That's the first thing. Secondly, when you make these remarks about being in bed with Xi Jinping and Putin and all of that, the kettle is calling the pot black in this case. How much, what is the level of trade between America and the Chinese? I think it's $450 billion. That's actually much more than the trade between India and China. Also, if you look at the situation, America cannot even dare to do two things: speak against China, because China is the world's largest exporter and America is the world's largest importer. And America realizes if you place 200% tariffs, as Donald Trump threatened to do on Chinese goods, then inflation will go through the roof. And Trump's own followers, own supporters will turn their backs to him. And that's going to happen. That's going to happen in about a year and a half. You wait and see what the midterm elections do.
Right.
Once you make these statements about India, to begin with, that very strong, very powerful Indian community of 3 million plus people, maybe there are 3 million voters, will turn their backs. And you see the number of votes Donald Trump has won by in Pennsylvania, in Michigan, and in places Georgia and Nevada and Arizona, few thousand votes. When you have a whole community saying what nonsense is going on, when you have that, then the political repercussions, forget about everything else, forget about economics, forget about foreign affairs. You see what the political repercussions are going to be in a year from now. A year is actually not a very long time in politics. A week was considered a long time in or not a long time, but even a year is not a long time. And when the midterm elections come, the entire Indian community, because of just this Brahmin remark alone, will be
it's
very
not just
upset.
the Brahmin remark. There are others also. You know, like I have this post open where he's posted a picture of Prime Minister Modi meditating in saffron robes.
It's clear ignorance.
So he's
That's
trying
the
to
issue. You can go to
India's
Harvard.
Civilizational roots. Colonel RSN.
You can go to
What
Harvard,
are
but you
Americans?
don't learn
Americans
anything.
are, America was found, like you dig deep to find crude oil. And they are mocking, they have the gall to mock a civilizational state like India.
Yeah, you know, Pranesh, with this Navarro's frustration arises out of the, hope, that, India would yield to the U.S. pressure as far as, buying Russian oil is concerned. And, India did not yield. So, all eyes are on, on this SCO meet. And we must not forget the fact that this SCO meet happens in the backdrop of Russia-Ukraine war, Israel war with Iran, where Americans were greatly involved, and then you had this, Operation Sindoor and this tariff war.
Right.
Now, tariff war is something not new, let me tell you. 2018 SCO meet, that was also in the backdrop of tariff war. That time the Chinese were hurt. And so much so that substantial amount of manufacturing shifted from China to Southeast Asia. But this time the Chinese have given them back in terms of, rare earth, restrictions on rare earth supply. But also let's not forget the symbolism of this place called Tianjin. This is the same place where Boxer Revolution took place. I don't want to go into the history of Boxer Revolution, but least to say 8 countries, including United States of America, US, Germany, France, UK, Italy, Austria, Hungary, all of them, combined, they attack the Chinese. That, you jolly will consume opium. We jolly will do, opium trade to you. We jolly will make addicts out of you. So that symbolism, that East versus West, please, is not lost. We also should look at, from that narrative. And his frustration also arises out of the fact that, as I say, that this entire, this entire instability in the world,
right,
with regard to Russia-Ukraine war has been created by the West. They thought that they will do a short job out of it, I don't know based on what intelligence inputs, based on facts like, that Putin has a few years left, etc. And they have just messed it up. So now, when everything has gone wrong, I mean, he comes out with this kind of, rant. Is this the way a Harvard product and a diplomat talks?
He's not a diplomat. He's a laundromat of the Oval Office. He's not a diplomat. If you want to see how a diplomat talks, listen to Mr. Sajjanhar, who's on Times Now. But, Sean, in the short term, what do we do about people like Navarro? There has to be a way to shut him up.
So I'm embarrassed. I graduated from Harvard too, and it's absolutely shameful that Navarro got a PhD from Harvard. It's something that we all talk about at school because he's a bigot and he's delusional and his economic theories don't make sense. But here's the thing. China has beaten the United States in the trade war over the last several months, right? Scotty Besson and Trump thought they held all the cards. But let's be very clear. Anything that the United States makes, except for semiconductors and ethane, China can get from elsewhere. So instead of buying American beef, they're buying beef from Australia. Instead of buying American soybeans, they're buying soybeans from Brazil. Instead of buying American oil, they're buying oil from Canada. So it's very clear that China has de-risked from the United States and has been able to shut Scotty Besson and shut Peter Navarro up. And that's exactly why Trump has had to fold on the tariffs and lower them down to China to only 30%. So if I was advising Modi in India, what I would say is India needs to increase its trade relations with China, increase its trade relations with Africa, increase its trade relations with Latin America and Southeast Asia, and create a new pillars of economic growth based off of India and China and the global south, or I prefer to call it the global majority. It's important that India starts to be, I think, a little bit more pragmatic when it comes to China, because I don't think any of the issues between China and India are that big. I think all of the issues like water, border control, I think they're all fairly small issues because China knows it needs to offset American attacks and Western European imperialist attacks by partnering with India. It's a natural partnership for the two countries, and I don't see any major problems that can't be talked out peacefully, frankly. I've never understood the tension between the two countries. I don't think Ladakh is that big of a deal. I think things can be worked out for the benefit of both countries. If you look at it again, China Twitter, China Weibo, everyday Chinese, in the last several days in the run-up to today's meetings are saying, let's have good relations with India.
But it reminds me of a line from the conversation we were having with diplomat Javed Ashraf. He said India and China are neighbors, but Indians and Chinese are strangers. So it's a telling take on the kind of relationship the two countries and, the people-to-people contact, something that you're also referring to. So there is, I don't think there should be a problem because, we're both right-thinking people. We want to focus on our people, our trade, etc., and progress, more importantly. We're taking a short break. Gentlemen, stay with us.